Recently, I came across a video from a YouTuber here called Queen Penguin Uganda, and she was covering this particular Kenyan lady that had an issue with the racism of Indians in her country towards Africans. The TikToker's name is Swiri Nayo Kano, something like that. Let me play the clip and then we're going to come back.
Indians in Africa, and especially in Kenya, we all know your ancestors were brought into these lands to come and build the railway line by the British. After the British left, you guys stayed to be part of us, which was only fair because you guys deserve to be here. But please, help me beg the older generation of Indians in Kenya to stop being racist towards the Kenyan people, towards the black. Pay black people the same wages you pay your own kind for the same services offered. A lot of Kenyans are suffering in EPZ, industrial area, and all the industries that are Indian owned because they're being treated very brutally. There's a lot of racism. Please, please.
Now guys, unfortunately, I have a little experience with Indians in East Africa. Not very much, but enough. I've lived in places where I've seen Indians force Ugandan maids to sleep on the concrete or to lay on the concrete while they're gone. I couldn't believe it when I've seen that. Also, there is a divide between the Indian community and more of the indigenous African community because the Indians are very separate. They do their own thing. And, they put others, it is perceived beneath them. But this all started, over 100 years ago, as the young lady said, when Indians came to East Africa to help build the railroad that connected, Mombasa to Uganda. And they were placed here by the British to pretty much be the middle class or the middle ground people that connected between the whites and Africans. So the whites were first, then you had the Indians who controlled most of the industry, and then you had the blacks. And so many of them were able to keep their connections to India. It is suspected that a lot of money in the economy went and flourished back to India. Even when some of them got kicked out of Uganda, some of them had factories in other places. They were able to go to other countries where they already had investments. And then once it was okay to come back to Uganda, they were so rich, they were able to come back. This is not everybody, right? So really the Indians in Kenya or Uganda, it is the Indians here and the blacks down there. But the young lady is making a plea out to the wrong community. She's making a plea out to the Indians to say, you need to treat us better, pay us better. But the plea shouldn't be to the Indians or to the Chinese. And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say it to be bold. The plea is to us as a community. It is not Indians' responsibility or the Chinese responsibility or Arabs' responsibility to treat you fairly. I know I'm going to catch some slack for that because in theory, yes, they should treat you fairly when they are in your own home country. But I want to say this. East African countries, I would say Uganda and Kenya, and even Tanzania, they are set up for foreigners to be much more successful than locals, okay? If you as an African were go to India, you would never be able to disrespect Indians there. But you would never be able to do it in Pakistan because they just won't allow that. But here the mentality might be a little different. And again, foreigners, they have a lot of access to the economies of scales here. I believe like when the Indians were in power in Kenya and Uganda, the economies were pretty much built by them. So the Indians have never really been kicked out of Kenya like they were here. They're business class people. They do very well. So the Africans that work for them, there is a level of not treating them right. So who do you talk to about that? You talk to the blacks, okay? That's why with the Kenyan channel, it's not about talking to the whites. It's not about talking to the Chinese or to the Asians. This conversation is talking to us. Now, why don't we trust each other to have those businesses? And what are we not doing that the Indians do? It's a known fact that Indians, they set up trade networks. They will do things that Europeans won't do. They trade on small margins and they get it in, right? I'm not saying they're the perfect business people or anything like that, but they'll do that and they have a cohesive unit. So what's the effort in for the blacks having the cohesive unit? You see, and they're smaller in number, but they control more stuff. That's got to be at certain points. And I do know they were placed here, like they were placed in Tanzania, they were placed in Uganda. But we're asking the wrong people. We got enough talented people in the Kenyan community that can get money. We got enough people that's talented in the Ugandan community to get money. We got enough talented people in the African American community. So our conversations need to be is, why are we allowing them to do this to our group? What is it about us? Okay. Are we supporting each other's businesses enough to be able to do that? Are we on code when we have problems? How do we reconcile those problems, and where is the leadership with that? And what are we doing to make sure that money keeps coming through our community, where we can hire our own and we can train our own to set our own to go back to the next level? We don't do that enough. You see, we should never have any of our people. I had a maid before. She used to work for the Indians. She was working part-time for me, making more money, but she signed a contract with them. And, she was cooking for like 10 people. I said, listen, whatever you're making over there, add it over here. You can come and just work here. She comes, Monday through Friday or whatever, a few hours a day. She's working like every day, 10 hours there. But we were able to, have her come work for us because it is our job to make our people what they are, right? And whenever we have an event, we have more than one maid, and they both come. They all come. They come and they hang out and they get their little beers. One leaves early because she had to go back home. But that's the beauty of taking care of your group. You know what I'm saying? That's our responsibility. And so we don't want to do that. We want to run from that. Whenever we have black issues, we want somebody else to solve those issues, and it takes work. The Indians, when they came to Africa, it was hard for them. Like, look at what they did in Durban in South Africa, in Zulu Natal. It was not easy, but they will do the hard work. They will do things. We have to do the intellectual heavy lifting, and we have to be on the ground and willing to work these problems out that we're going to have in Africa. Africa is still developing. The black world is still developing. It's a lot of opportunity, but it takes work. It's not easy. Nothing is easy here. Nothing is easy in the black world here. We shouldn't have African Americans with all the talent we got in the African American community talking about, why won't the white man give us a job? We have plenty of people that can give jobs. Okay? We got plenty of opportunity to make money. We don't need anybody else's money. So when a woman like that speaks like that, she's telling me that you've given up on your community. You don't think your community is powerful enough to do anything for you. So let's talk about this racism thing. Whereas if that unity was there, those Indians will even be fearful to do that. They would be afraid to do that. Okay? They won't even try it. They won't even think about it. Just like if you were to go to Egypt, you would never even think about disrespecting the Arab. You go to Dubai, you won't even think about disrespecting the Arab. You go to Saudi, you know better. You won't even think about it. They need to have that respect for Africans here on the continent. Don't even think about mistreating a Ugandan or a Kenyan. They need to be fearful. But you can't do that when you don't have no unity. People know when you're not unified. Right? A lot of these guys, they know that we're not unified. So they're going to exploit it. But once you get unified and you get on code, they will never try that with you. There will never be another maid sleeping on the concrete when they're not there. That will never happen. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shirley Jackson, back at it again with another episode here at Fair Use. I'm out.